Tonight on CTV News at 11:30. Thousands of Sudburyans remain under a boil water advisory after samples test positive for coliform.
What they indicate is that there's some issue that we need to understand.
Meanwhile, store shelves quickly empty out of any bottled water in stock. Plus, a major street in the Sault is closed down as fire crews battle a blaze.
It looked like somebody put a pepper shaker into the air.
We'll have the latest on the Wellington Street West house fire. And French River waives its tipping fees for flood victims as the high water and state of emergency continues.
CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. We begin tonight with more on the city of Greater Sudbury's water woes. At this hour, and according to official estimates from city officials, almost 90,000 residents across Sudbury are affected by the boil water advisory issued by Public Health yesterday evening. Officials are urging people not to consume this. A look at tonight at one of the water treatment plants affected, this one on David Street, both it and Falcon Bridge, detecting some adverse water samples. Today we're learning more about those samples, who's affected, and how the water can and can't be used. CTV's Lindsay Alick starts us off this evening.
Here is the full list of communities that are affected, including Sudbury, New Sudbury, both sides of O'Neill Drive West, the area between Maley Drive and O'Neill Drive West, and the area of Garson northwest of Falcon Bridge Road. Meantime, here is a list of the communities that are not affected. Sudbury and District's public health officials say they want to emphasize that the boil water advisory is precautionary and they do not anticipate health impacts in the community.
Reported to us included positive total coliforms. That's a big group of different bacteria. It's a category of bacteria. It's not a specific bacteria. And generally, those coliforms are harmless. They don't impact our health. But what they indicate is that there's some issue that we need to understand. And when they're present in the water, it means that we need to do further testing to make sure that the water is indeed safe to drink.
Groot says 2 tests need to be done. The first has been completed, and once they receive the results, testing can be done again, meaning the advisory will be in place until at least tomorrow. But it could be longer.
We're not aware of anyone in the community who's been sick, but this is a precaution to say that at this time, we don't have enough information to say, yes, this water is safe to drink.
Groot says the water is safe for washing, bathing, and dishes, but should be boiled for making infant formula, food preparation, brushing teeth, hand washing, and of course, drinking water.
You need to boil and then cool the water, rolling boil for a minute. Or to obtain water from a different source, either bottled water, purchased water, or water from communities that have not been impacted or private wells.
For those looking for water, city officials say the residential water filling station here on Bay Street is available, but that everyone must bring their own containers. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Whitefish.
The boil water advisory has impacted restaurants, the hospital, schools, and service organizations in the city. While some have closed, others are open with limited services available. CTV's Elena Everson has more.
The Samaritan Center is serving meals from the Blue Door Soup Kitchen and the Elgin Street Mission from its pickup window. The temporary measure as it deals with a boil water advisory and safety surrounding the water supply.
Very cautiously, we are dealing with the boil water. What has happened today was we had to close down the Elgin Street Mission and the Blue Door did not open the restaurants because they serve coffee and water, and the coffee doesn't actually get to a boiling enough temperature because it's connected right to the city lines.
Dine-in will remain closed until the advisory is lifted. The center opened its washrooms midday Thursday and will operate them from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. temporarily.
What we wanted to do was keep the washroom facilities open for folks that needed to use the facilities. We wanted to make sure we had the proper signage. And so you never know what happens inside of a washroom if people are filling up their water bottles or if they're washing or doing whatever. So we're being very cautious.
Some coffee shops and restaurants in the city remain closed due to the advisory, while some say they are taking the needed precautions to stay open. At Health Sciences North, officials say patients are getting their meals, and the hospital has secured a large supply of bottled water for patients and staff. People coming to HSN are encouraged to bring their own water where possible to help conserve supply. The Rainbow District School Board says schools in areas impacted by the advisory remain open. Students are being asked to bring bottled or boiled water to school. Any food preparation requiring water is discontinued. Prepackaged food will be served as part of breakfast and snack programs if available. Elena Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
As Alana just alluded to, bottled water has quickly become a hot commodity in Sudbury. Store shelves were quickly emptying out following the citywide boil water advisory. CTV's Amanda Hicks reports.
At Culligan Water in Sudbury, the taps are open and the bottles are filling up fast. Management says the phones haven't stopped ringing since the boil water advisory was issued yesterday.
Usually we get about 200 a month when we track them, and so far today, since 8 o'clock, we're up over the 200 mark, and it's only 12:32 today. So it's been a little busier than normal.
The scene was much different at major grocery stores across the city. By last night, the water aisles were bare. For resident Lindsay Dumont, the sight was a shock.
We go in and there was an employee saying, like, the employee was at the front and she was like, there's no water, this and that. So I already knew, so we were kind of like, darn it. But after that, we still went into the store and I seen the shelves. And I was absolutely mind blown.
While Culligan assures customers they have enough supply to weather the rush, Dumont says retailers need to do more to prevent panic buying.
I feel personally the store should put a limit and people should know, leave water for other people. There's seniors, there's, families with kids, toddlers, and that's honestly a lot of them. They go for a quicker option.
Dumont believes it's a time for the community to look out for one another as residents wait for the all clear from the city. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
And late tonight, city officials releasing they have received the first set of negative tests from Wednesday. The water testing negative for coliform and E. coli, but they'll need a second set of tests from each affected site collected at least 24 hours apart. They're expecting to receive tonight's test results tomorrow. Until then, the boil water advisory continues. Well, in other news, new tonight, 3 Quebec men are facing charges of attempted murder following what's being described as a firearm-related incident in Kirkland Lake. That from OPP, which responded to an area of Wood Street Saturday afternoon. One person was rushed to local hospital and was later flown out to a trauma center by Orange. Investigators say they have life-altering injuries but are currently in stable condition. They add, with the assistance of the Sûreté du Québec, the search of a motor vehicle led to a large amount of Canadian cash, suspected drugs, and prohibited weapons like brass knuckles. All 3 are also facing charges of participation in a criminal organization. 2 will appear in Kirkland Lake in court on Friday, the 3rd on Monday. Investigators in Shiging seizing more than $17,000 in drugs and cash yesterday. According to the UCCM police, 3 local people and 1 person from Scarborough have been charged with trafficking after police executed a search warrant at a home on Hull Street. Officers reportedly found suspected cocaine and more than $4,000 in cash. A follow-up to a story we brought you Tuesday on Red Dress Day. The North Bay Indigenous Friendship Center saying today that during an interview an incorrect reference was made stating that a missing woman was from Wigwamkung unceded territory. The intention was to say Manitoulin Island. We regret the error and apologize for any confusion or concern this may have caused the community of Wigwamkung. A big house fire in Sault Ste. Marie shut down a major roadway for much of the morning today. Shortly before 10 o'clock, crews were called to battle the blaze on Wellington Street West. 4 fire trucks and other fire officials arrived on scene initially with a complement of 16 firefighters total, while other emergency services held the scene. Fire officials believe no one was injured in the incident, noting that individuals inside the building exited as crews arrived. Several people watched the event play out there nearly from the beginning.
I saw smoke up in the skies, and I looked over, and boom, that house was on just up Inferno. It looked like somebody put a pepper shaker into the air, and it just looked like black smoke everywhere. A lot of smoke, really dirty smelling. And all of a sudden, the fire trucks started rolling, and they were doing their job.
We've been working at it for a couple of hours now, trying to get the fire knocked down. We were unable, based on the conditions, to make a safe entry into the building. So we fought the fire from exterior, from windows, doors. We've cut a few holes in the roof to gain access to the attic, and we feel like we've gotten a pretty decent handle on it at this point.
Sault Fire Services is investigating the blaze. Information has also been passed on to the Ontario Fire Marshal. More help from the municipality from French River has been announced as it looks to help those dealing with flood water. At its council meeting, councillors voted to waive tipping fees at the landfill for the moment for those dealing with flooding. Well, the water is stabilized. It's still high. If the weather patterns hold, the municipality is expecting to start seeing some relief early next week. Recent precipitation has been more than 200% on average. At least 50 properties have been impacted, and some property owners frustrated saying that the province should be doing more.
Moving forward, we're going to have to really evaluate how this water system is managed. We can't keep doing the same thing and having the same results over and over again. I think that there has to be a concerted effort into looking at things, evaluating how things are done, and coming up with different ways of managing this system.
The municipality remains under a state of emergency. The city of Timmins Shores says it'll be rolling back some of its usual seasonal openings due to weather conditions and a late spring across our region. According to its social media feed, the Rotary Splash Pad and 1 foot forward spray zone will now open at the end of May. The sweeping and installation of bollards along the Stato Trail have also been delayed until May 22nd. Outdoor washroom facilities will be open on May 11th, while sport courts and playgrounds are now open and available to the public. Speaking of the weather, time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have our full weather forecast. For now, look at the current conditions, and it is cool there, a lot cooler than it should be this time of year. We're seeing 0 in Sault Ste. Marie and Wawa, 1 in Chapleau, 2 in Timmins. A little bit of sleet action also there along the Lake Superior coastline. We'll have details after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Here we go, getting ready for the weekend, and we've got mixed weather in our forecast over the course of the next couple of days heading into Mother's Day. Forecast radar courtesy of Environment Canada. You'd see that band of precipitation, low pressure system affecting Northeastern Ontario. Even more come Saturday, starting around, 8 o'clock in the morning and hovering down over the course of the afternoon into the early evening. Let's take a look now at some of your temperatures and conditions. Sudbury Nickel Belt for the course of the next couple of days. Chance of showers for tomorrow at 40%. More of the same on Saturday. Mother's Day, we've got the chance of showers, 10 degrees. Sleet on Monday, 30% chance at 11, 12. Tuesday and Wednesday, you've got some sun and cloud one day and cloud cover on Wednesday of next week. So again, that's a change in some of the conditions. We'll have to wait for the sunshine. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma. Chance of showers tomorrow at 9, also 9 on Saturday. Chance of sleet, more of the same on Sunday. Maybe the odd sunny break at 8. Chance of showers Monday. 8 degrees. Tuesday, 12, sun and cloud. Wednesday, more cloud cover at 13, but inching closer to the normal for this time of the year. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, sleet in the forecast for the next, 4 days. 60% Friday, 40% Saturday, 40% on Mother's Day, and 30% on Monday. Your highs 8, 10, and 9. Tuesday, Wednesday, here we go. More sunshine. And 11 degrees Tuesday, 13 on Wednesday, still below normal. Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, chance of sleet tomorrow at 9, chance of showers for a couple of days at 10, Saturday, Sunday. Chance of sleet at 30% Monday at 10, 12 degrees Tuesday, sun and cloud. And the second day of sun and cloud Wednesday, also 12 degrees. So not a bad midweek coming up, just days away. North Bay, West Nipissing, chance of showers tomorrow at 10, chance of showers on Saturday at 12. More of the same on Mother's Day, 11 degrees, chance of sleet at 30% Monday at 11, 12 degrees Tuesday, some sun and some cloud cover Wednesday, Also 12 degrees. Have a look. Your normal for this time of the year should be around 17, so you're still 4 or 5 degrees short of that. Ian, great to have you back from Disneyland and Disney World, where it was a lot warmer and sunnier. This is what we've got to deal with over the course of the next couple of days. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Rick. Good to be back. Given the disruptive events we've reported on lately, like flooding and a boil water advisory, being prepared has never been more important. It's timely that this is Emergency Preparedness Week. CTV's Angela Campbell has more.
Most Ontarians got this emergency alert on their devices today. The test is part of Emergency Preparedness Week in Ontario and across the country.
Important to know what those risks are and how you would be better prepared in your home to either to be sheltered in place, or if you have to get up and go, what would you be taking with you?
Emergency Preparedness Week is meant to remind everyone emergencies can happen quickly and without warning, so being prepared is key. Dunlop says everyone should know risks, make a plan, and build an emergency kit. The messaging seems timely for some Ontarians, given several communities still remain under states of emergencies due to flooding.
People who experience an emergency do start to realize it can happen, and so getting better prepared, unfortunately. And that's why sharing this messaging as broadly as we can is beneficial, because it hopefully will have people start thinking about it and then taking those steps.
So I think it just better prepares you moving forward when you've been through a situation. But I also want people to just be prepared and maybe learn from others and say, hey, I don't need that to happen to me. What can I do?
Both experts say this week is the perfect time to create an emergency kit with enough supplies to last about 3 days. Those should include non-perishable food, flashlights and batteries, a first aid kit, bottled water, copies of important documents, and anything specific to your household.
Additional medications, ensuring that you have water in your home. Living through the ice storm last year in my area, I was without power for 9 days. And little things like just having a bit of cash, because when the hydro's out everywhere and you need to get gas for your vehicle, you have to rely on cash.
The theme for Emergency Preparedness Week is Prepare Together. And the experts agree it's about being proactive, taking the necessary steps for when an emergency happens and not if one will happen. Angela Campbell, CTV News, Sudbury.
All 6 of the provincial hazmat response teams were in North Bay this week to put their emergency response skills to the test. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
Firefighters suit up in their hazmat gear and tend to injured airline passengers exposed to a chemical leak mid-flight. It's one of 2 mock scenarios hazmat crews are tackling.
We have to be prepared for what might happen. Let's hope it never does, but if and when it does, we're ready for it.
There's objectives and skills. They're going to decide on the takeaways, on what they want to learn.
North Bay Fire and Emergency Services has a suppression team of 72 and has been a part of the provincial response team since its inception following the 9/11 attacks. There have been local hazmat incidents since then.
The great formaldehyde spill of 2012, it was out on Highway 63. We ended up having to evacuate all the residents of Silver Lady Lane for approximately a week. And then we had the remediation crew for well over 6 months, and they ended up having to neutralize the formaldehyde that was saturated into the ground.
The team can respond as far north as Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, and Wawa.
North Bay's been a great asset for us. Last year, North Bay's offered up to be the host and to basically coordinate and take on all of our 6 provincial teams.
The response network is able to handle different CBRNE incidents. That stands for chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosives. The hazmat teams respond 24/7 and often work with local police and OPP to coordinate and manage complex hazmat responses, including transportation emergencies, illicit drug labs, and industrial accidents.
Every time we do a recruitment, the expectation is that the new recruits are going to go through the hazardous materials technician program. So as of right now, over half of our department is at a level of a hazardous materials technician level.
There was a hope that one day the North Bay Fire Department would be able to expand its operations into a full CBRNE team. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Still ahead tonight on CTV News. Ontario's Trucking Association is adding its voice for safer highways across the north. Northeastern and Northwestern Ontario municipal leaders continue to call on the provincial and federal governments to accelerate investment in Highways 11 and 17. And as CTV's Lydia Chubak tells us, the Ontario Trucking Association is adding its voice to the effort.
The three groups are advocating for a phased approach to improvements to Highway 11 and 17, including widening sections, 4-laning, and the addition of 2+1 sections where 4-laning is not possible. Leaders say having the Ontario Trucking Association on board helps amplify their message.
The provincial government is fully aware of our meeting. We've sent it off to the federal government, and now we're hoping to get some traction, have an opportunity to meet with the key ministers as well as the PM.
We're going to keep promoting the necessity here, and I think that I'm hopeful that we'll eventually come to an understanding between both federal and provincial governments to undertake this large project.
Officials say Highway 17 and 11 support billions of dollars in trade each year, and they don't want to see a repeat of the Nipigon Bridge failure that happened a decade ago.
We know how we are faced with our neighbor right now. Anything that can have a bump in the road, and that's as simple as that bridge and the rail line right beside it getting in any kind of situation, Canada is literally cut in half. And I don't know if people really realize the importance of that.
Our infrastructure is built in 40s to accommodate 40s kind of traffic. Here we are the number of years later, and we're still traveling the same routes.
The Ontario Trucking Association was unavailable for an interview, but in a news release it said it's still waiting for a meaningful response from the federal and provincial governments. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
As the weather gets warmer, Timmins police are reminding the public about off-road vehicle use. Drivers must be 16 years of age or older with a valid driver's license and trail permit. These types of vehicles are not permitted on city roads between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. and are only allowed on designated routes when the OFA TV trails are open. In Northeastern Ontario, the only trails open so far are between North Bay and Mattawa. The trails around Timmins remain closed. One Sudburyan is looking forward to the rest of the Montreal Canadiens games in round 2 of the NHL playoffs. CTV's Madison Merrier has more with Garson's superfan.
Eric Lafreniere has been a fan of the Habs since childhood.
My grandfather on my mom's side was a big Montreal Canadiens fan. And one day he decided to take the train with his friends, and they went to Montreal at the Montreal Forum. And unfortunately, at the age of 52, he had a heart attack as he was handing in his ticket at the game. And he passed away right there in the Montreal Forum.
The loss of his grandfather further ignited his family's love for the team, even memorializing his grandfather on a brick outside the arena.
I contacted them when I got to Montreal, and they presented me with a nice frame with the game sheet of the game my grandfather missed, because he was handing in his ticket when he's passed away, so he missed a game. So they gave me the game sheet, the official game sheet, framed with a memory of Joe LaPrairie at the bottom of the game sheet, and a nice handwritten letter.
The team has been a part of his family his whole life, which is why he dedicated his garage to the Habs, much to his wife's chagrin.
I had to ask her politely if she can not park in the garage, because this is where we watch our games. It was a hard sell. However, part of the agreement is that I have to go out and make sure her car is warm for her in the winter and take the snow off.
But Lafreniere said she is happy she no longer has to hear them watch the game, as he and his son get a little rowdy, and during the playoffs it hits a new level.
I've had a lot of people here last Friday. It was a packed house. It was standing room only in here, and my friends, I had friends and family in here watching the game. It was incredible. I even had a neighbor in the back call me out and say they could hear us cheering from inside my garage.
The Habs losing their first game didn't get Lafreniere down. He's even bringing his interior decorating outside to change his exterior lights to shine Habs colors during the games. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Finally tonight, you might have thought you stepped back in time if you visited Reichenbach Falls in Switzerland this week. That's because enthusiasts were there to reenact one of the most famous moments in literary detective fiction. It was this moment in an 1893 Sherlock Holmes story that shocked Victorian readers and briefly appeared to end one of literature's most famous detectives. At these falls, Holmes and his enemy, Professor Moriarty, struggle beside a cliff edge before plunging into the waterfall below. Now, more than 130 years later, enthusiasts of this series dress in Victorian capes, tweed suits, and deerstalker hats to recreate this scene. Elementary, my dear news viewers. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Thursday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.